Hey there, this is my review of Icarus Uprising. Revealed at E3 2010 along with the 3DS, eager fans have been waiting for Pit's return for over 20 years. And after a very slow first year for the 3DS, Icarus Uprising has finally been released. In a few words, it's the game 3DS deserves. For a few more, keep watching. First and foremost is the gameplay, and admittedly it does take some getting used to. Everything you do outside of the menus is controlled using only the analog nub, the L button, and the touchscreen. Their hands might cramp up, you should eventually get used to holding the system, and getting past that, these simple controls do work wonderfully. Each level begins with a 5 or so minute long flying shmup sequence. These are the best parts of the game, and where every part comes together and shines flawlessly. Each and every one of these parts show you not only the best of the game, but really the best of the 3DS system just in general. The controls work intuitively and fluidly, and the action is very high energy, very fast, and expertly paced. After these two brief flying parts of each level, Pit has to land and the game turns into a third-person action shooter type hybrid game. These sections are very far from bad. They are good, and they still retain the expert pacing, the simple control scheme, and all that other good stuff, but they are still worse than the flying bits. The biggest hang-up with the ground sections is that the game uses the touchscreen as both the camera and the crosshair controls when you're shooting. It never gets too out of hand, and even though it's something you quickly get used to, you'll occasionally find yourself shooting in a different direction than you're facing, or just shooting the wrong way, turning yourself around. But you do eventually get the hang of all of it, you get used to it, and it does work very well. The game also has trouble recognizing the difference between walking and running, or dashing, because it all uses just the thumbstick and not a button to toggle running or whatever. And this will lead to some falls, some accidental jumping off cliffs and all that. But again, it's fine. You never feel completely out of control, but these problems can become frustrating during the game's more frantic sections. There are also some vehicles that, while simplifying the combat, making it easier, just feel way too floaty. Uprising also makes use of a very extensive customization system that is broken up into both weapons and abilities. As you go through the levels, you'll find loot that'll fit into one of these two categories, either a weapon or an ability. For the weapons, there are seven different types or flavors of weapons, and they each cater to a different playstyle. Each of these weapons of the 7 weapons, each of those have many different variations, and each of those variations offer their own nuances on the just the type of gameplay that each weapon offers by itself. Basically, there are so many weapons in this game that there's a weapon for everyone who plays it. No matter who you are, you'll find a weapon that you like using in this game. You can also fuse 2 weapons together to make a completely new weapon that would share some stats and bonuses from the parent weapons, but it's kind of hard to know what combinations will make what weapon and what stats will transfer between them. It's kind of like breeding Pokemon with like the IVs and whatever. But you do get to see what weapon you're fusing. You pick the 2 weapons, then you get to see the result for actually making it. So that is very, very helpful. The abilities grant Pit limited use powers during the levels and are even more so customizable than the weapons. Each ability is represented by a shape tile that fits into a larger square, kind of like the Mega Man Battle Network customizer, or like Tetris, except everything's static. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, actually. It's pretty much a jigsaw puzzle. Either way, you can arrange each ability on the square as long as the tile fits. There's generally enough room for a very healthy amount of power-ups, but it never feels like you can fit everything you want at once on there. Also note about the abilities that none of them are passive. Each one has to be activated during the level as you see fit, and this is done with just a simple tap of the stylus. Very easy to do, but you just have to remember that none of the abilities just happen on their own. You always have to activate them, and they are all limited, so they all run for like a limited time, or there's a limited number of times you could use them per level. The game's difficulty is never a problem, as you can scale it to however hard or however easy you want before each level. Starting a level at a higher intensity, which is their difficulty, will get you more rewards, but dying means losing some of what you bet, and you automatically get sent to a lower difficulty. If that was an issue for me sometimes, because you die, fall off a cliff or something, insta-kill hit, whatever. and you'll just automatically get sent to a lower difficulty, which means you lose all that. It'd be fine if you lost it, but you could keep on the same difficulty, but you can't, and that affects what rewards you get at the end of the level or how strong the loot you find is. The game's multiplayer, or Together mode, and I love the name for it, Together mode. I think it's way better than multiplayer. But this mode plays just like the frantic parts of the single-player campaign ground levels. There's a team deathmatch, which is called Light versus Dark, or a free-for-all. In each 6 pits are pitted against one another. Controls work just as they do in the single player, and you can even bring the weapon you're using in your campaign into Together mode. This does expectedly create some balance issues, which are dealt with in the team-based mode, because then the power of your weapon is tied directly to your team's health gauge. But during free-for-alls, everything's kind of completely out of whack. But it does all run smoothly. As far as I've been playing this for like a week, and so far I haven't really run into any lag or issues like that. The highlight of Kid Icarus Uprising has got to be its phenomenal, absolutely mind-blowing, phenomenal presentation. It is just utterly stunning and a jaw-dropping experience, and one that takes full advantage of the 3DS hardware to deliver something completely and utterly unique. Uprising has the best graphics on the system with an incredibly charming art style. The 3D gives everything incredible depth, and it is recommended that you never turn it down. I mean, unless you have issues, but just like you have to play with 3D on, at least the flying sections. Complementing the visuals is excellent audio, both from the game's soundtrack and a very, very good cast of voice actors. The voice acting is completely on point, everyone is in character, and the actors are given a fantastically funny script to work with that rivals some of the best work Nintendo has done on their Mario RPG franchises. You know, like the Paper Mario stuff, the Thousand Year Door. Oh wait, Paper Mario, the Mario RPG Superstar stuff. Like that type of script, very humorous, very good. Musically, this is a soundtrack that deserves a separate CD or MP3 release. I can easily see some of these songs going to become as popular and as iconic as the Legend of Zelda main theme. It really is that good. All these elements come together flawlessly through the whole game, with the high points again being the flying bits. Where you can let yourself just kind of be guided through the game's beautiful vistas and environments and just sit back and listen to the flawless voice acting and the utterly exceptional music. Uprising's presentation has simply set a new bar for the 3DS and is one of the best in the medium. Kid Icarus Uprising may have taken 20-something years to come out, but it was undeniably worth the wait. Its expertly paced action combined with top-shelf visual and audio design make Uprising the game that the 3DS deserves and the one worth owning it for. Kid Icarus Uprising gets a 9 out of 10.